Trump's hate rally at Madison Square Garden last night has backfired considerably, as there have now been some big endorsements for Kamala Harris because of some of the things that were said at that rally. So I'm going to go over this, as well as some reaction from a couple of comedians, as well as a clip to Tony Hinchcliffe and the comments that spurred a lot of what is going on now, or the reaction to it. So before I get to the endorsements, let me just show you a reminder. So I covered this last night, the day it happened, but let me show you again just this quick clip of Tony Hinchcliffe and what he said at the hate rally in Madison Square Garden.
A lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
All right, so I went over some of this yesterday, but just quickly here. The fact that Trump delayed $20 billion in aid to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. This is not just some, oh, he's just joking. You are speaking hate at a Trump hate rally. You're preaching to the choir here. So, setting, I think, matters when you try and claim your defense is, oh, just a joke. Not to mention how lazy the joke is. Again, I'll get to some of the reaction from comedians in a bit here. But this led to, first, the Kamala Harris campaign taking advantage of this in the way that they should, comparing her record and what she wants to do to Donald Trump, saying here, today I released my plan to help build a brighter future for Puerto Rico and the Puerto Rican people as president, which, by the way, it's so interesting that this was happening. Kamala Harris had already announced this, or she was discussing it the same day that Tony Hinchcliffe was doing this joke. Just a wild, just the timing on this is just wild. Saying here, meanwhile, Donald Trump's rally, they're calling Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. So let me play this clip that the Harris campaign shared.
There's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico is home to some of the most talented, innovative, and ambitious people in our nation. And Puerto Ricans deserve a president who sees and invests in that strength. I will never forget what Donald Trump did and what he did not do when Puerto Rico needed a caring and a competent leader. He abandoned the island, tried to block aid after back-to-back devastating hurricanes, and offered nothing more than paper towels and insults. And now Donald Trump promises to be even more extreme, talking about using the military against his political enemies and being a dictator on day one. Puerto Ricans deserve better. As president, I will always fight for you and your families, and together we can turn the page and chart a new and a joyful way forward.
So, pretty good way to compare yourself to what happens at a Trump rally. And in addition to that, the Harris account on Twitter also tweeted this out, saying when he was president, Trump insulted Puerto Ricans and left them behind. We are not going back. Going on to say Trump doesn't care about Puerto Rico's prosperity. When he was president, he withheld billions of dollars for Hurricane Maria recovery. He lied about the death toll of Hurricane Maria, while most of Puerto Rico lived without clean water and electricity. He claimed Puerto Ricans want everything done for them and called Puerto Rico dirty and poor. He suggested selling Puerto Rico or trading it for Greenland. He opposed $600 million in additional critical nutrition assistance, and he ensured Medicaid funding for Puerto Rico was cut in half. Now, that rally. So before this was even, before Harris tweeted this out, the Tony Hinchcliffe comments led to this. Jennifer Lopez, Bad Bunny, Ricky Martin, and more amplify Kamala Harris after Trump rally comedian trashes Puerto Rico. So from what I'm reading, Jennifer Lopez and Ricky Martin already publicly said they were supporting Kamala Harris. Bad Bunny appears to be the one that was, a new public endorsement of Kamala Harris. But he has 45.6 million Instagram followers. So he shared a video from Harris's account in which the vice president outlines her vision for Puerto Rico. And so they go on to quote what Harris says in the video. And Puerto Rican artists Jennifer Lopez and Ricky Martin also shared Harris's video on their Instagram accounts, each expressing their support for her. The three artists alone have more than 314 million Instagram followers between them. In addition to that, Luis Fonsi, who is the singer behind Despacito, who has around 17 million followers on Instagram, tweeted this out, on Instagram put this out, saying, I understand comedy. I'm a big fan of it. I love roast. Trust me, I get it. But this is far from comedy. Not now, not against my island, my people. Hell no. It's okay to have different views, and I respect those who think different than me, but going down this racist path ain't it. I'm so proud to be Puerto Rican, to be Latino. We are not okay with this constant hate. It's been abundantly clear that these people have no respect for us, and yet they want our vote. Oh yeah, and I purposely wrote this in English because yes, we're American too. Please vote. Now, the potential impact here. So Hinchcliffe's comments, this is from Newsweek writing this, they may galvanize Puerto Rican voters who were otherwise disengaged, potentially reshaping voter engagement efforts as the 2024 election looms closer. So 7 battleground states are Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, and North Carolina, with Puerto Ricans making up a significant portion of the Latino vote, particularly in Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Georgia. In the latter two, narrow margins decided the 2020 presidential election. These remarks may have far-reaching consequences. So, it's possible a lot of people already support Kamala Harris, or maybe weren't engaged. But point being here, this on some level, considering how close this race is and how close these battleground states are, on some level, this is going to have some impact, where it's going to potentially galvanize some voters in these states to come out to vote when maybe they didn't feel as inclined to. But now that you have one campaign, at least at the rally, just trashing Puerto Rico, it may move some people in a way that they didn't feel moved before. Now, I want to get to, just worth sharing this as well. This is, it's so funny to see Republicans, at least ones in particular states like Florida, for obvious reasons, try and put out this fire. So Rick Scott, one of the more crazy, and not that there really is a difference here because they're all crazy, but Republican senator in Florida, he's up for re-election with over 1 million Puerto Ricans in Florida, saying this joke bombed for a reason. It's not funny and it's not true. Puerto Ricans are amazing people and amazing Americans. Funny he didn't say anything about all the other garbage that was said at that rally that I also covered yesterday in that video, or about Haitians that's been going on for months with the Trump campaign. Nothing to say about any of that, but he's up for re-election in a state with over 1 million Puerto Ricans. Oh, he's got to come out for this one. Oh, it's very wrong to say this. Where were you before about all the other hate that's been going on forever? Amazing. Now, let me end on just a few reactions from comedians here. So this is from Tim Smith, saying open for Tony Hinchcliffe about 5 years ago before the show. Before the show, the booker of the club walked into the green room, looked at Tony and asked point blank, "You going to be funny this time?" Tony got incredibly mad, then walked on stage and bombed horribly. Now, look, I can't verify this account. I wasn't there, but I'm seeing some other reactions that from people that had similar experiences. Kamau Bell Kamau Bell here, another comedian writing, you've got to be joking. So to be clear, Tony Hinchcliffe apparently retweeted this Don Rickles clip where he is at, I guess, a GOP rally. He's roasting Reagan. You got to be joking. Tony Hinchcliffe retweeted this clip as if to say he and Don Rickles are the same. I just watched Tony's whole set. Tony only made fun of the people out of the room or the people in the room that he's not afraid of. Rickles only made fun of people in the room. Most of Rickles' jokes are making fun of Reagan. All of Tony's jokes are about Trump. About Trump are, as the kids say, glazing him. Tony's biggest response from the crowd are the lines that the crowd perceived as sincere. Like, quote, "I wish football was all year round." It's my personal favorite. So I guess that was supposed to be a joke, and people clapped for it because they thought he was being honest. The spin is spinning. So this is just. I'm gonna get to again the clip from right here. It's the last thing I'm gonna show you. This is Anthony Jeselnik, who many people, if you've seen his comedy, some people find him offensive. I think he's brilliant. I think he's hilarious. He understands how to do, for lack of a better term here, offensive comedy, because it's not offensive, but it's the subject matter that may be perceived as offensive if the jokes were told differently, but the way he's able to construct them, again, he's brilliant. Listen to how he discusses this.
And all these comics now, it's like almost the point is to get in trouble. It's like, why are you giving me shit? I'm a comic. I'm allowed to say whatever I want. That's wrong, as far as I'm concerned. Art.
Oh, wait, say it again so I don't miss it.
People think like, oh, as a comic, your job is to get in trouble. And so, but they don't want to get yelled at. It's like, it's okay to make people mad, but they don't want any pushback. And I think that's wrong. As a comedian, you want to make people laugh. This is a quote attributed to Andy Warhol that I love. It's just, art is getting away with it. You know, if you put out a special and everyone's pissed, like, you didn't get away with it. You know, you need to make everyone laugh that they're like, yeah, he talked some fucked up stuff, but we're all happy. That's art. Otherwise, you're just a troll.
This is said so well. Like, what Tony Hinchcliffe does, watch what Tony Hinchcliffe does here in that, you know, his set, and compare it to what Anthony Jeselnik does. It is night and day. Anthony Jeselnik is actually clever in the way he constructs and writes jokes and the way he delivers them. Tony Hinchcliffe, he had one joke last night at that rally where he sees a black guy in the audience. I guess he's wearing something like on his head. And he goes, oh, I just couldn't. That's a friend of mine. We carved watermelons last night for Halloween. That's just racism. There's no joke there. There's nothing clever about that. That's just, hey, it's racist to connect black people to watermelons, so I'm going to say that. Isn't that funny? Where's the joke? Like, the whole thing came off as a guy who just began stand-up last night for the first time. Because none of what he delivered, I watched the whole thing, none of what he delivered was actually clever. It was just offensive for offensive sake. And then people get angry about it, and he's like, oh, I'm just a comedian, what's the big deal? Which is literally what he did. On Twitter here, responding to AOC and Tim Walz and their reaction to his clip, saying these people have no sense of humor. Wild that a vice presidential candidate would take time out of his busy schedule to analyze a joke taken out of context to make it seem racist. There's no other context. You can watch the whole thing. I love Puerto Rico and vacation there. Some of my best vacations are Puerto Rican. I made fun of everyone. No, he did not. He did not make fun of white people. He did not make fun of Long Islanders. The vast majority of people who were there, like, didn't make fun of racists, didn't make fun of transphobes, didn't make fun of xenophobes. Like, you can't claim, I make fun of everyone, but purposely avoid jokes where you will offend the vast majority of people in that audience. Watch the whole set. I'm a comedian, Tim. It's always great when you have to remind people what you are. Might be time to change your tampon. Again, what a lazy joke. Like, there's not... This man is so lazy. It's one thing to be a comedian and, you know, offend some people and your jokes are clever. His jokes are just, racist thing. That's funny because you're offended. Where's the joke? Wild stuff at the Trump rally, but good to see it backfired. So it may be the funniest thing that Tony Hinchcliffe does is potentially help Trump lose this election.